Hi, and welcome to our farm. My name is Cheryl, and I live here on my family dairy farm with my husband and my children and my in-laws. And we're glad to have you here. You might see my face familiar if you have had an AgScape lesson in the last little while. I also help with the teacher ambassador program. So we're going to take a tour of our farm, and Gail will get a chance to see what we do each day to take care of our animals. So come on in and we'll get started. So this is one of our barns, and this is where I spend a lot of my time because I take care of the calves, and I wanted to show you a few of those. And I wanted to thank AgScape for inviting me to do this today. Great. Oh, I'm seeing some people sharing, so I'm just going to share with you. So these are some of the calves on our farm. So these are in group pens. And so when they're about 2 to 3 weeks old, you move them from where we keep our smaller calves after they've been with their mother into these pens. And each day I feed them milk. So they get a pail of milk twice a day, for a little bit over 4 liters. And I also make sure they have lots of hay. They have hay up front, and then they have lots of bedding, that's straw. I'm going to show you that here. And then every day they get a nice mix of grain. So there are 5 pens just like this, and the biggest ones at the end are just almost 3 months old, and they'll be moving on to another part of our farm soon. So I'm going to show you what we feed our calves each day. So you can see I have some young children on my farm, and so my sons will oftentimes have some toys out here. So this is corn. So the calves get a mix. They get 2 scoops of corn. They get a little bit of this soy here, and then they get these minerals, and then they get some additional pellets that look something like this. And I mix all of those together, just like this, in my pail each morning. And I do this. I do this 5 times so that everyone gets some feed. All right. So, and then the hay won't be there, and I'll put it into their chest. So, you'll see that all our calves have tags, and these tags identify, give them an identification number, and it also has written on there the name of their father or their sire. All right. So, I'm going to take you out to show you how we actually mix some of our other feed. I'm just going to switch the camera because we're going to walk here. And if we have any questions, how often do I feed them? So we feed our calves twice a day. So I feed them about 7:30. That's why they're just eating hay now, because that's a while ago. And then I feed them again about 6. Just as we're doing milking, then I'll bring milk from the cows over. And yeah, so twice a day. And they always have water and hay and feed in front of them so they can enjoy that. So we're just walking through one of our barns. This barn also houses some of our other younger stock, so ones that are waiting to have calves. But I'll show you in our other barn where we keep the cows that are just about to have calves. But I wanted to show you some of the buildings that help us, storage buildings that help us on the farm, so that we're in quite a bit of rain here where I live. So let me switch this back for you. So here is where we store the corn silage and our haylage. These are called bunker silos. So, and then we actually have 4. We're actually planning to build another one. And then these up here are called tower silos. We don't use all of them. We only use one of them right now. And then it's just got partner. Sorry for what it is. We have had a lot of rain here, so I will switch that back to me and switch out of here and see if I have any more questions. So I guess you can see the tractor in the background there. All right, so we're just gonna walk back through our barn. And as we do that, if you have any questions, how many cows do we have? So we milk about 170 cows, sometimes 160, depends. And so we keep probably on our farm right now, 40-ish, depending on how many calves are born. All of the animals that live on our farm have been born here. So other than selling animals, we don't buy any animals. So no cows are bought. So you can see the barn's a little long. How often do you milk the cows? So we milk our cows twice a day. And I will show you where that milk goes. And then I will show you how we milk our cows. Just going to take you through. So just leaving that one barn. And then I'm just going to switch this. So I'm taking you into where our milk is picked up from. So you'll see that we have signs like this on all of our barns, and they are part of our biosecurity. So when someone comes to our barn, we want them to have on clean boots. And just so you know, this is where the pipe or the hose will go through when they're collecting the milk. When the milk truck comes, we'll go into here. This is our milk tank. So our milk tank holds about a little bit less than 12,000 liters. Our milk is picked up every other day. And then there's a chart over here where the milk truck driver will record how much milk we have shipped that day. And these are also parts of, this helps us with keeping, has to turn on the wash, because after each milking, it will get washed. So he brings the hose through here, hooks it up, and then he makes sure before he does that, he takes a sample of our milk, because every shipment of milk is tested to make sure it's the quality of the milk that we are shipping. Okay, so how can rain impact your daily tasks? So today, you might have been able to tell my hair is quite wet, but other than that, it also means that we're not going to be able to do any of the field work that we normally would be doing. We're almost finished our field work. We have one last field. Oh, I see that there's a fuel truck coming in our yard. I guess I'll just show you that. So oftentimes when there he is. So we're getting some fuel for our tank. So oftentimes when it's raining like this, we have other jobs that we'll be doing in the barn. You can see another biosecurity sign as I walk us into our other barn, the other entrance to our barn. Okay. So great. So we are entering our parlor. So this is where we milk our cows each day. Ours is a double 10 parlor, and it has a rapid exit, which I'm actually going to show you how that works. So the cows come in to this area and they wait in a waiting area just ahead of us. And then they come into the parlor 10 at a time on each side. And then they go through a process to have their udders cleaned, and then they're milked. And then, so when they first come in, I close this button here, black button. And then when they're finished milking, and you'll see up here, there's a display. It's showing it's being washed, but normally when there's cows in here, a number will display. So each of our cows has what I would call kind of like a Fitbit, like a Fit watch that you have, or a smart watch. They all have something like that on the ankles. And when they come in, it triggers this. There's like a sensor here. It triggers it so that we know the number of the cow as they come in. And it also tells us how many liters they should produce. So the cow is milked. And then we will, once they're finished, then I will press this button here. It takes a little time to get a few seconds because it gives the cows time to leave the parlor. Just if you're watching here. So it's just gonna moving up. You have to give a little time for the cows to leave. And the question about how many people work here. So on our farm, we have one full-time person who helps us, and then my father-in-law and my husband and myself and my mother-in-law, and then we have some part-time people who help us by doing some evening milking. Most of those are, several are high school students, some are people who are just looking for some part-time work. Okay, so you know how we cows get out, and then this is, I'm gonna leave these in here, but these cups are what actually go on the udder. Okay, and there we go. All right, so we've milked the cows, we've cleaned up the parlor. We have a big hose that you see that's stretching on here. That's how we make sure everything is nice and clean before we go on. And then all the information about what we did all goes, all the information about what we did in that milking will go into our office, which I will show you where that is. We're just gonna go down. So this is the people alley of our farm. And it's a little bit dark. There's one light I didn't get turned on here. And then I'll switch this on. So we're in our office, and our office is important because farmers have to keep important records about their animals and what we're doing on a daily basis. And so everyone's seen a computer before, but ours has a special software on it. And that looks like this. That tells us specifically about each cow, and we can enter data or information about each cow as they are being milked. And if there's something special happens, like they have a calf, or we need to, their time, it's soon going to be time for them to get dried up, then that will come up on our computer. And then also here, I'm sure your the teachers in our group today will be able to relate to this. We also have lots of paper files, so we keep track of everything that happens on the farm also in a paper calendar, and then everything is also transferred onto our computer. Great question. So how much milk does an average cow produce? So on our farm, our cows average is about 35 liters a day, 34 sometimes a little less. It really depends with cows because some breeds of cows produce less milk than others, but they have a higher butter fat. So that makes a difference. And I will tell you all about our cows when we go out to see them. And I did want to mention, so I was thinking about yesterday, where is the milk from your farm typically sold? Awesome questions, because maybe you saw what I had here. So our farm is a member of the Gailey Food Co-op. So you probably see containers like this in the store. I was thinking about things that you might like to eat with those tasty strawberries that we learned about yesterday in our our virtual tour. So this is Gailey's, and you'll see on here so that you know, not doing a very good job showing that to you. Right here is that Dairy Farmers of Canada logo. This one's actually black. So Gailey is a dairy co-op. There's about 1,300 members in Ontario, and that means that we're farmers or owners of the company, and we all work together. And then another example I had that might be tasty on the strawberry was Chapman's, and it had a good example of the blue cow, which I'm not, again, having a good, there we go. So there's the blue cow, and I have that sticker so you can see it too. So that's telling us that the milk that we're consuming is Canadian milk. All right. I will switch this again. All right. So thank you for taking a little tour into our office. You'll have a sense of what we do. And then I'm going to take you another question. Do you have any other animals on your farm? Great question. So on our farm, we actually, no, we don't. We only have cattle, so cows, and we We actually have a few beef cows, but they're in a different barn because I grew up on a beef farm, and so I like beef cows. So I have a few beef cows, and there's also some cats, but that's it. So we are just gonna walk now back through. All right, so what are some different, okay, so there's different breeds of cows. So I'm gonna take you now into our milking barn. This barn is about 10 years old. This barn was built the year that I actually moved to this farm. So let me take you in there so you can see it. All right, so here we are. That was our milking area. So this is where the cows walk up into to get milked each day. And then there's two pens over here where we keep the cows that are, I'm just gonna open this gate. All right, so we have Holsteins on our farm. That is the breed of cattle that we keep. There are lots of different breeds. So there's Jerseys, but on our farm, we just have Holsteins. But what's special about our Holsteins are, even though right now our cows seem to be showing a lot of black cows, we actually almost, here we go. Here's a nice row of our red cows over here. So these cows are busy eating. So this is our TMR, a total mixed ration. So it has a mix of that corn I showed you and the haylage. And we have that a mixer who mixes it up really well. And then it's just spews out to the cows. So yes, so our barn is full of Holsteins, but lots of red Holsteins because we really like red Holsteins. So I'd say almost half of our cow herd is Holstein. I mean, red Holsteins. Do I have names for my cows? Some of our cows have names. My husband has some special names for, I'm looking for some of the ones that I have names for. Oftentimes they get named after their dad. And then this one is Rhodey. Hi. Yeah, she's very friendly. Okay. And I was going to show you. So in here, no one's using it right now, but sometimes people ask how our cows keep themselves clean. So we'll actually have a brush in here. So the cows will come in and they can rub themselves on that brush there. What's the most common food that you give your cows? Well, because our rations are balanced, they have a lot of different, like there's lots of corn, lots of hay, and then I guess then I would say soy. It just so that it balances out, so they have exactly the right nutritional components that they need. So I'm just kind of taking us out to the end of our barn. As you can see, it's quite wet out here in our fields. Hey. So this, we were just talking about corn, so I'll just take you out. It's not raining while it's drizzling. That's what it's been doing a lot here lately. So here is our corn. Was planted, I guess, a couple weeks ago, so it's already up. And so our farm, this, you can see that field behind us is corn, and then across the other side of those trees, it's hard to see, that is where we have our new seeding. So that is hay that we just planted this year that we will harvest later. And then, yes, now you can see our barn. Do our cows ever get to go outside to play? Excellent question. So our cows in our milking barn don't go outside. The cows that we have in our dry barn, dry cows, so the cows that are on, I call vacation. So that means the 2 months that they get off, depending on the time of year and the conditions, they will go outside for a little bit. I always think that in this barn, it feels like you're outside because we have curtains that are controlled, and it makes it so pretty much feels quite comfortable. Can you tell how a cow is feeling? Yes, I would say so. So we can tell if a cow is feeling sick or if they're just tired. Yes, I would say that we can do that. I talked about how we have a monitoring system on their ankles. So that kind of tells us when they come through the parlor, if they've had a super active day, it kind of gives us a sense of how they're feeling. Because with all the advances we have in technology, some people now can have actual monitors about exactly how much their cow ate that day. And those are all types of things that are being developed. So. Okay, when do we expect to harvest corn? So we expect to harvest corn usually around in October, sometimes September, depending on the year. So the forage corn, the stuff that's chopped up that we use for the cows, that's usually in September. And yes, corn is used for lots of other things. So we know that we can use it for ethanol. We can use it in other processing. Our corn, almost all of it, we sell several acres of it as well that is sold to actually other farmers who feed it to maybe to pigs or to other animals. Okay, so I'm just going to show you. These are the pens where we keep our cows when they are just have had a calf or their calf has just been moved. So they're just laying here checking everything out. And then over here is the pen where we have our cows who will soon be calving. How much land do you farm? So we have about a little over 500 acres, like 530 acres in ground. So this is our main farm where we keep our cows. And then we own another farm next door, kind of pointing it in that direction. And that's where we grow most of our other crops. So I think some things that you might want to know, we were talking about this yesterday. How much do you think these lovely ladies will eat in a day? So my husband said about 45 kgs, and we're thinking that depending on what time they're going through, they're probably drinking between 150 to 200 liters of water. Now, dry cows, the cows who aren't milking at the time, they're going to be drinking a little bit less. What was else? So everybody, the bedding in our barn is bedded with straw. I can go in here. Perfect, great question. Thanks, Kathy. So we use straw and wood chips or shavings. So our cows get a fresh coat of bedding every week, sometimes twice, depending on how they're doing. If I come in here, this is Yeti, and she will definitely give me a nice lick. So thank you, Yeti. Thank you. Okay, Yeti will probably join us for the rest of the tour. Okay, yeah, so you can see that. I showed you the tags before, but each cow has a tag, and then each cow has a little bracelet there, and that's what I was talking about, bringing that with that fit that you might have that you wear on your wrist. Our cow does that, and Yeti is still licking my hair. Thank you very much. Okay, let's see. I showed you what we eat, where we sleep. So how much do I think? Yes. So Yeti probably. Where are you, Yeti? I'll switch this around because she seems to want to be right here with me. Okay, so Yeti probably weighs 16, maybe 1,700 pounds. But some of our cows might weigh only 13 to 1,400 pounds. Just depends. So with cows, it depends too about the breed. With Holsteins, like the ones in our barn, like Jerseys are smaller, but the cows in our barn, since they're all Holsteins, yes, kind of that's the range. Yes, thank you. Okay. All right. I can show you that brush a little bit closer. I think our time is coming. So there's a cow actually using this now. I'm probably going to scare her off, but here she is using the brush, giving herself a nice little cleaning there. What is the name of your biggest cow? Great question. So the cow I just was showing you, that was Yeti, but I think that there's a bigger, we have one we call Great White, and she is very big, but I don't know, that's not her. There's one more, quite a large cow, and she, oh, that might, yeah, I think that's her over there. So yes, we have some very big cows, and we have some not as big. What's my favorite thing about being a farmer? I love cows, and I like the lifestyle, and I like taking care of them every day. So I'm fortunate to have grown up on a farm, and I'm very fortunate to get to raise my children on a farm. And yeah, it's a life that you have to work really hard at, but it's very rewarding. And yeah, I was trying to find Panda. I have a cow that I call Panda, and I named her that when she was first born. But she's not coming up to see me. But as you can see, our cows are quite happy. Pretty happy people. Yeah, pretty happy. Oh, thank you. Awesome. So what are some jobs that you might have working with cows if you're not a farmer? So some people who help us here on our farm are the veterinarian. So on Fridays, every other Friday, the veterinarian comes, and it's actually she comes and she checks all our cows. So if there's someone who might be going to have a calf, then she will check for that. If we have a concern about a cow, then she'll also come and help us with that. We have a feed nutritionist. So all those feed rations and all those feeds that I showed you today, someone who has studied animal nutrition will have helped us to balance those rations. And also we have people who help us with milking. So there's such a large variety of jobs that can relate to working with cattle. Great question. Okay, so I think my time is almost up.